Peaceful People! This is Emily from the Peaceful People Project, with the very first video of 2014. Whoop whoop! Okay, seriously, 2013. Wow, what a roller coaster that was. I joined the Canadian Voice of Women for Peace. My friend Amy and I started the Peaceful People Project. I joined Amnesty International. You guys have been watching the Peaceful People Project with me and Amy since September. 3 months now. You followed me to Steel Band. You visited the Venturer Scouts with me. You were there when I launched my mini arc for Gaza. You made white peace poppies with me. You made vegan cookies with me. I am so stoked for what's coming next. Just on the home front, in the last few weeks that I've been away, I had a typical Leave It to Beaver Christmas with my family. We exchanged gifts, and then on New Year's Eve day, my dad and my brother and I went skiing, and I took the obligatory selfie on my new Android phone. And yeah, here's that picture. I'm not smiling, but that's because I was at the top of the mountain at Blue Mountain, and it was -10 on the ground that day, so I can only imagine how much colder it was at the top of the hill. So, all in all, I had a pretty epic Christmas. But my favorite part of Christmas wasn't going skiing, and it wasn't getting a new smartphone. My favorite part of Christmas was two things. First of all, my dog Charlie made a full recovery from his stomach obstruction surgery when we thought we'd lost him. Christmas for me happened when I came in the door after Steel Band and Charlie was back from the vet, and he ran to me and kissed my forehead. My other favorite thing about Christmas this year was getting to see my brother Dave. So here's a picture of Dave and Charlie together. It's a candid. Dave is feeding Charlie cheese, which he really shouldn't do. But since we're so glad to have Charlie back, we've all been indulging him a bit more than usual. So obviously those were just a few things that have been going on in my life. As for the world in general, I really struggled to find a way to describe the craziness that was 2013 concisely enough to make a video about it. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it myself, so I'd like to share with you a poem that I didn't write. It's by a really funny, brilliant guy named Gary Clement. He wrote this as a cartoon strip in the National Post on New Year's Eve. So sit back, relax, and enjoy A 2013 Z. A is for Apologies by Rob Ford for Crack. B is for Boston Marathon Under Attack. C is for Calgary. On with the show! D is for Detroit running out of dough. E is for ex-astronaut Hadfield retiring. F is for Francis the Pope, inspiring. G is for George, Kate and Will's son. H is for Heisenberg, Breaking Bad's done. I is for Iran, nuclear or not. J is for Justin Trudeau, smoking pot. K is for Kim, firing his unk. L is for Lou Reed, godfather of punk. M is for Miley, performing a twerk. N is for Nobel, for Monroe, for her work. O is for Obamacare, is it working yet? P is for Putin. Does he like gays? Yet. Q is for Quebec and its headgear ban. R is for Republic of South Africa. Mandela was the man. S is for senators expensively billing. T is for Twitter making a killing. U is for USA, shut down for a while. V is for video stores, no longer in style. W is for whistleblowers revealing NSA stuff. X is for X-rated Anthony Weiner. Enough! Y is for Elvis and 300 million hits. Z is for Zimmerman. The jury acquits. So, I write poetry, and I can tell that that poem was not artistically perfect. The rhythm and meter were off in a few places, and obviously the word Elvis does not start with a Y. However, I loved that poem. I think my favorite thing about Mr. Clement's poem is the fact that it's such an honest and candid and just naturally funny commentary on human nature through its description of 26 major events from 2013 from A to Z. First off, Toronto had a mayor who was forced to step down because he was smoking crack. And now he's running again. One thing that wasn't mentioned in the poem is the major upset between the American government and the Russian government, because the Russian government doesn't want to allow members of the LGBT community to participate in the 2014 Olympics. I don't think this should ever be an issue. I think it should only ever be based on athletic ability. And I'm saying this as a straight person who can barely even throw and catch a ball. I think that everyone in the world is like this. I think that everyone is inherently good. I mean, look at the world. Yeah, we screwed up some things, but we could still marvel over the birth of the royal baby, just like we could if it was our best friend having a baby. By the way, shout out to my friend Shannon and her new baby son Preston, who was born November 11th while I was at the Canadian Voice of Women conference in AGM. Another shout out to my friend Katrin, who had twin girls, Marianne and Mary Bell. Actually, I had a lot of friends who had babies this year, so shout outs to all of you. There are just too many of you to list. But I think knowing that you can be a good person and still make mistakes, it's a sentiment that gives hope. Around this time of the year, a lot of people are making New Year's resolutions. And a lot of people's New Year's resolutions run out early because they look at it as an all or nothing thing. They think, for example, I want to lose weight. I'm going to be perfect. I'm only going to eat healthy food, and I'm going to go to the gym every day and exercise for 2 hours. And then when they're tired or sick or they get hungry for some ice cream, they think they've fallen off the wagon and they just stop. The whole game of New Year's resolutions reminds me of a song that we used to sing at Peace Camp. The song is a traditionally Christian song. I think it's actually a Quaker song because the camp that we had Peace Camp at, Camp Niconis, is a Quaker camp. So this song is Christian, even though I'm not. But I think it's valuable anyway. We will overcome. We will overcome. We will overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we will overcome someday. So that's just the first verse of the song. When I first heard it, I thought it was kind of sad. We will overcome. What does that mean? Someday. When is that? We don't know. When you approach New Year's resolutions that way, you're going to fail. I see this all the time at the gym. I see the place packed to the gills in January, and I see everyone clear out around Valentine's Day, probably because of the chocolate. I see people swear they're going to quit smoking, and then they run out of steam because they had one cigarette and they think they've failed. I've seen people promise themselves to get organized, but then they aren't able to be perfect right from the start, and they just give up. I've seen so many variations of this theme play out. But one of my favorite things about We Will Overcome is subsequent verses of that song. In subsequent verses, the song talks about things that we can do right now. For example, we can all be friends. We can all be friends. We can all be friends today. Deep in my heart, I do believe we can all be friends today. So that was incredibly empowering for me, to be able to stand in a circle and sing about all the things that we could do today, right now, to make ourselves better people and to make the world a better place. There were other verses, like, we can stand as one, we can love the earth. It's not all just airy-fairy, hippy-dippy nonsense either. Like I said, reach your hand out to someone in need. If you see a homeless person out in the cold, then buy them a cup of coffee or a bowl of soup. If you see someone who's fallen on the ice, help them up. Just before Christmas, I was going to the library, and it was massively snowy out, and it was on a weekend, so the snowplows hadn't been out yet. So I was on my way out of the library, and I saw a man in a motorized wheelchair who was on his way in, but he couldn't get up the curb cut because it was covered with snow. So I saw a young man who didn't even know this other man, and the young man started kicking the snow out of the way so that the man in the wheelchair could get up the curb cut to the library. And I started helping him. And it made me realize that as inconvenient as the snow was for me, as much as I didn't like walking in the snow, at least I could walk in the snow. And I told the young man this as we walked away. This can be extrapolated to bigger things. If you have privilege, then use it to help others. This can be able-bodied versus differently abled privilege. This can be class privilege. That's a big part of the reason why I'm doing the Peaceful People Project. Because I have access to things like the internet. I have access to a webcam. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. I live in a country where it's safe to speak my mind. And I can use this to help people. A lot of the time, taking on something like this can be scary. And when you look at it in terms of all or nothing, like the first verse of We Will Overcome, then, they might as well have called that song We Will Overwhelm. But the difference is, if you look at it in terms of small steps towards a bigger goal, then it seems much easier and much less scary. So, like I said before, I don't entirely know what's happening this year. I don't know how often Amy's going to be able to post because she has a lot of other things on the go. She's just written 2 books at the end of 2013, and she's got a bunch of speaking gigs at universities coming up. And I'm so proud of her because she's going out in the world and speaking out against dating violence. I am so proud of her for going out in the world and promoting peace in this other way, even if it's taking her away from our channel. So, I'm scared, but at the same time, I'm excited for what's to come. I'm hoping to make a video about yoga in the new year. I'm hoping to make a video at Amnesty International in the new year. I'm hoping that I can shoot a video at a Food Not Bombs gathering. I don't know entirely what 2014 has in store. But I'd like to share a quote from, again, Anne of Green Gables, a favorite book from my youth. In this quote, Anne Shirley has just done something impulsive. I don't remember if it's after she broke her slate over Gilbert Blythe's head, or after she dyed her hair green and had to have it all cut off, or after she broke her leg trying to walk across the ridge of the school roof, or after she got stranded in the middle of the water in a barge, acting out a scene from some play. But she'd done something impulsive, and she was embarrassed, but she was looking at the bright side of things. She said to Marilla, "Isn't it splendid that tomorrow will be a new day with no mistakes in it yet?" Well, just think about that. Isn't it splendid that 2014 is a brand new year with no mistakes in it yet? We're only 6 days in, and we have the potential to make this a great year. So let's do it.